Today we're talking about an amazing power that you have from one of the very few things you can control.
This is the Enjoy Life podcast, here to help you choose your mindset, goals, and actions so that you can guide your life in the direction that you want it to go and enjoy it. It does take a little bit of work, some effort on your part, but that effort is worth it because this is your life and you can experience the benefits of the work that you do. And this podcast is here to help. Life doesn't magically turn out exactly how you want. It's up to you to make it happen. Now, you may not have chosen to be exactly where you're at right now in your current situation, but you will choose what you do about it. If you're ready to put forth a little bit of effort, take some small steps toward living the life that you want, then you're in the right place. Let's get started.
Welcome to episode 132 of Enjoy Life. I'm glad that you're here and joining in because, well, this podcast is for you. You know, if you're willing to put forth a little bit of effort, to be intentional, to choose your mindset, goals, and actions so that you can guide your life to go in the direction that you want it to go, then I want to help. And that's why I make this podcast. First and foremost, I am so appreciative of the reviews that this podcast gets, that you give for this podcast. It really just makes my day. If you haven't left a review yet, rating and review, please do that. Just wherever you're listening to this podcast. It would be a huge help. I really thank you for that. And also, I'd love for you to connect with me on Instagram. Say hi. It's just at Nick Mazie. Let me know how this podcast has either helped you or what you'd like to hear, so it could help you some more. Well, I look forward to connecting with you there. And really, on to today's topic. Today we're talking about this amazing power that you have in what you do. See, last week we talked about that enormous impact that what you can control in your life. Yes, most things you can't control. Most things in life you just are outside your control. Other people, what they do, what they think. A lot of things, the majority of things. But you don't have to let that stop you from pursuing and getting the life that you want, because what you can control is so powerful. It might be less in number, but it has a big power over your life. And today is just one of those few things that you can control. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about the amazing power that this can have over your life, because there's an exceptional power in what you do. Do you believe that your actions are powerful? Do you believe that? Well, I think you should. I really think that you should believe that your actions are powerful. And don't discredit your power just because you haven't done it yet. Don't downplay your potential just because you haven't done the work or taken the steps. You choose your actions. Now, it might not always seem like that. Oftentimes it seems like we're stuck in a situation, or at least for me, and if I'm kind of looking back on my life, there's times where I feel like I've been stuck. If you've heard anybody my story, then you know that for a time there, for a good handful of years, I had a pretty bad addiction, and I really didn't feel like I was in control of my actions and what I was doing. My life was out of control. At the same time, even though in that moment, I definitely felt out of control, and I couldn't really choose all my actions because of that addiction. I could choose some of what I did. If I didn't have any choice at all, then I wouldn't have been able to kind of get out of that situation. I wouldn't have been able to take any of the steps. I wouldn't have been able to ask for help and receive the help and take the instructions of other people. I wouldn't have been able to do all those other things that ended up leading to me being able to have a little bit more control over that area of my life. So even if we can't control everything or all of our actions, or if we're feeling a little bit stuck, or our situation or your situation is that it seems like there's things you can't do, you still have control. You still can choose what you do. You can choose your actions. And take this from somebody that, like I said, I was stuck for many years. But choosing to focus on what you can control, what you can do, is what's going to help you to get out of that situation. And it might not be in leaps and bounds instantaneously, because you might have to take a lot of little steps and little adjustments and little actions to gain a little bit of momentum, to make some improvement, to improve your resources, to improve your ability, to improve your self-confidence, to improve a lot of things. You might have to take a lot of little steps, but you still can choose to do those little steps. And as long as you don't give up, then you'll end up making the progress, and you'll be able to slowly get out of it. Because your actions, you can choose them, and they count. They are valuable. They can have an amazing impact on your life. So I said, don't discredit your power just because you haven't done the work yet. And now what I'm focused on just, it's the actions that count. It's the actions that count. When I was stuck in a bad spot in my life, I couldn't do a lot of things I wanted to do. So I had to do a lot of other things to get me to take the action. Because it's the actions that what counts. You might need to do a lot of self-talk, to kind of talk yourself up, to encourage yourself, to kind of get that mindset and your attitude a little bit more positive, a little bit more, confident, with a little bit more self-esteem and self-efficacy, a little belief in your ability. You might take a lot of self-talk to get there. You might have to put a lot of positive stuff into your mind by the things that you read and the things that you focus on. You might have to do a lot of that stuff in order to be able to take the action. You might need to use a countdown technique like that Mel Robbins promotes. She's got the 5-second rule. It's where you count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you take action on whatever it is that you know you needed to do in the moment that you're putting off, you're kind of delaying, and so you count down in order to get yourself to do it. It's kind of like a priming effect on the brain. It's really powerful. It's really pretty simple, really neat, and really powerful. One of the things that I do sometimes is I do a shorter countdown, and I use a trigger word, go. So I do 3, 2, 1, go. And then I just jump up and do whatever it is I know I needed to do in the moment that I was delaying, that I was putting off, that I was procrastinating, or maybe I was just thinking about it a little too much and I just needed to take some action. Well, you can use these things, just like I do all the time. I talk to myself all the time. I use self-talk all the time. And when I do it, it makes it easier for me to take the action that I need to. When I encourage myself, it makes it easier for me to do what I need to do. When I use a countdown or a trigger word, you can use some self-talk. You can do a countdown or use a trigger word. Because what's most important is that you do the work that you're using these tools to help you to do. What's most important is that you take that action. And another way that you can kind of help yourself to take some action is to set up a cue. When X happens, you're going to do the next thing. Whatever it is, whatever that cue is. It might be, well, let's dive into some examples right now, and we'll talk about each of them. Okay. Because the whole point of what I'm talking about is that it doesn't matter how you get yourself to take the action. It really doesn't. All that counts is that you do what you need to do. Let's say you need to exercise so that you can have more energy, feel better, and just feel better about life and have more energy, feel good. Then if you know you need to do that, then doing the exercise, doing that action, that's what counts. It doesn't matter if you have to give yourself a really big pep talk to get yourself there. No. You might be standing in front of the mirror encouraging yourself and pumping yourself up. You might even crank up some music really loud and kind of bounce around, get your energy going to encourage yourself. And you might even have to do that all throughout your 15-minute exercise video. That's okay. It's okay. It doesn't matter how you have to get yourself to take the action. All that matters is that you do what you know you need to do in order to get the result that you want to get. If you want to exercise so that you can have more energy and feel better and be healthier, good. Then do all that's necessary to get yourself to do that, because your actions are powerful. You just got to get yourself to do them. That's it. It is pretty simple. You can do it. And believe me, the self-talk, the encouraging yourself stuff, it sounds a little woo-woo, but it works. So I don't care if I'm really looking funny, if I'm talking to myself out loud or pointing to myself in the mirror. I want to encourage you just to step out a little bit of your comfort zone and do that if that's what's going to help you to take the actions that you need for your goals in your life. Let's say that maybe you need to have a tough conversation with a boss, a significant other, or a friend, and you're delaying it. Look, tough conversations, well, they can suck sometimes. It's not, you don't want to have them. That's why it's easy to delay them and put them off. But they might be sticking in the back of your mind, and it might be one of those things that you know you need to do. And if you know you need to do it for you and yourself and the things that are important to you, then do what's necessary in order to get yourself to do it. Something like this. It might be one of using a Mel Robbins countdown, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Maybe that'll help. Or maybe it'll just be the 3, 2, 1, go. And you just charge into it and do it. It might not be pretty, but doing things, whatever it is, when it's important, when it's something you need to do, a lot of times just doing it is better than not. I like the saying, done beats perfect. Now, I'm not saying don't charge into a very important, crucial conversation without thinking about what you might want to say. You might want to think through it, especially if it's a serious conversation. Another one of these things that can help you to get to do what you need to do. Well, I'm a big fan of a little stress reduction, deep breathing, little mindfulness exercises. But I don't really spend a lot of time doing them all day. I got a lot of other stuff to do. So I like to use cues sometimes. Like when something happens, that's when I do whatever it is I know I need to do. So it might be when my butt hits the office chair, I do 30 seconds of deep breathing to help reset. And it could be really simple. It might be, when you step into a room, you take a deep 2 or 3 breaths, and then you kind of start fresh with whatever it is you're going into that room to do. Or it might be getting in and out of the car. You do a short reset. You can use cues so that as soon as this happens, as soon as X happens, I do Y. Whatever it is. And what's neat about cues is that it takes some of the thinking out of it. You already have kind of predetermined when this happens, I'll do this. And a few little deep breathing resets throughout the day, it's a great way to add a little stress reduction and mindfulness into your day without having to take a huge chunk of time out, but then you get into the habit of doing it. It might be when you brush your teeth at night, you're going to throw your gym clothes in a bag in the car, or you're going to throw your gym clothes in a bag next to the bed. Whatever it is, you're going to set yourself up. And if you think about it in advance, you've already set up the cue. When X happens, I do Y. Whatever it is you need to do, think about it and go ahead and set that so that when the time comes to do it, you're not delaying, you're not thinking, you're not coming up with excuses. You've already determined that you're going to do it, so you just do it. The power is in what you do. It's your actions. You can use these simple things of, some self-talk, you doing a countdown, using a trigger word, a different cue, whatever it is, use some of these things to help you to take the actions that you need so that you can make the progress that you want, achieve what's important to you in your life so that you can guide your life to go in the direction that you want it to go. It doesn't matter what you got to do to get yourself to take the actions. It just matters that you do take the actions. Because this is your life. It's worth it. I promise you, it's worth the work and the effort to make it what you want it to be, to make the absolute most of it. Well, thank you for listening to today's episode. That's what I have for you. I hope you enjoy it, and can't wait to talk to you again next week. I really hope you enjoyed that episode and got some value out of it. If you did enjoy it, please rate and review this podcast, either on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. It will really help more people find it. There's so many podcasts out there these days that I really rely on you to share this material so that more people can find it. You can always just share it with a friend. You can send them to nickmazy.com, or like I said, rate and review this podcast. Any of those is a huge help, a huge benefit, and I sincerely appreciate it. And also, I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to connect with you. You can find me on Instagram, just at Nick Mazy. Send me a message. Tell me anything that you like or how I can improve, or just information you'd like to hear about on this podcast or through any of my material. And as always, you can go to nickmazy.com for more resources and topics just related to helping you guide your life to go in the direction that you want it to go and enjoy it.